So we had a big story over the past couple of days. Bernard Drainville, our new education minister, stepping into it, I think it would be fair to say, and more than once, this time offending people who teach in kindergarten, but that happened today. I want to talk about the bigger story, which we talked about just yesterday, which is the fact that there are so many teaching jobs that will go unfilled by qualified teachers. And apparently they're out there, but not in a big hurry to get back into the system, or there just aren't enough teachers right now. So how will that affect your child if your child, for example, is in an EMSB school? Well, I thought the best way to find out is to talk to Michael Cohen. He is Manager of Marketing and Communications at the EMSB. He's also a columnist at the Suburban. So, Michael, I saw you on TV the other night. I'm not sure if you were talking directly to this. You were talking about teachers in the EMSB coming in from France, I believe, specifically. But if we're going to address the system or this story overall in terms of a lack of teachers, what does it look like at the EMSB for this coming fall?
Well, hello, Aaron. Good to be with you. First of all, this is a problem that's been in the system even well before COVID, and we've been addressing it at our board by working 12 months a year on keeping our substitution, called our supply list, very full with teachers, qualified people who step in and teach full-time if necessary. So we can guarantee at the MSB that when classes start on Wednesday, August 30th, every classroom will have a teacher. And so we're not worried, but at the same time, we're not taking it for granted, and we are on a daily campaign that's basically barely stopped since last year to keep on recruiting new teachers.
So that recruitment of teachers is an active campaign year-round?
Yes, it is. It is in so many different ways. In fact, next week, our Human Resources Department is going to participate in 2 virtual career fairs where a lot of people, this started during COVID, but it's been very effective. So people could go online and they could learn about teaching opportunities at all 9 English boards, something that the 9 boards together started. As you mentioned, last year we had 3 teachers from France. It was very successful at the elementary level, and we'll be starting the year off this year with 10 teachers from France. And we're hoping that we're going to get more in the years to come because it's a great area to recruit from. And certainly being a school board that's very focused on French immersion, having teachers from France is perfect.
So let me ask a question here. Part of the issue from what we understand now in the wake of Bernard Drainville's comments is the issue of retaining teachers. So you say you're recruiting full-time. How hard is it to retain teachers, and what are you seeing within the system, within the board?
Well, honestly, if teachers could make it through COVID, they could make it from anywhere. And we did not have a big exodus of teachers during COVID. Remember the conditions in which they were working. You have to commend them. And I'm talking about every teacher anywhere, probably in North America. We had teachers, with face shields and masks and watching the kids, make sure you put your mask on, you're off. We were doing it during waves. So we haven't had a mass exodus. There's just the usual number of people who leave because of retirement. And of course, we've been in a big competition with the French boards because of the immigration that came into Quebec, again, mostly pre-COVID. There was a big need for teachers, and a French system, which is continually growing. Their numbers are huge. So we're effectively competing with them for the same teachers, especially since we're primarily looking for French immersion teachers.
And is this idea, I know you obviously heard this yesterday when Bernard Drainville said something about, well, it doesn't really matter if you can't find, and I'm not saying your system directly, I'm asking you to comment in general, Mike, this idea that don't worry, every classroom will at least have an adult, as in not necessarily someone who's qualified to teach, but just a person in that classroom. I'm curious to your reaction to that.
Well, first of all, we don't just send anyone into a classroom. And when we have a substitute teacher who applies, who might not have their teaching certificate, they need to have something as close to it. They need to have an education that shows they can be in a classroom and they have an expertise in that subject. And I'll give you an example that you'll get a real kick out of. One of our new teachers this year, big scoop for you, is going to be Pat Hickey of the Montreal Gazette.
Ah.
Pat Hickey, at 80 years old, came to me at the end of the year and said, Mike, you know what? I want to keep myself busy. Do you have any work for me? I said, yeah, how about writing on the website? He's been writing sports for our website. He says, Mike, I want to teach. He says, I taught when the NHL was on strike a couple of years ago in the townships. So Royal Vale School is going to have a journalism class taught by Pat Hickey, where he's going to teach the kids how to create a school newspaper.
That's great.
And it's going to be an extracurricular, so he doesn't necessarily need to have a teaching certificate for it. But that's an example of thinking outside the box, and who better than to have a guy like Pat Hickey in the classroom? So, that's the kind of things that we need to pivot to.
Well, let me ask you that. So based on this, and I think that's a great idea, by the way, let's say someone is listening now that has a set of specialized skills and not a teaching degree, but I don't know, maybe they're an artist and they've done enough work that they might be able to pass on their experience and their talents to kids. Is it worth someone like that contacting the board or not?
100%. They should go to our website at www.emsb.qc.ca, go to the career section. They can go online and apply to be a teacher. Someone will respond to them. And by the way, while people are looking, we talk a lot about teachers, but the education system is in great need of special needs technicians, attendants, psychologists, social workers, different kinds of professionals. There's lots of jobs. People who are looking for a good job in the system, if they look on our website, they're going to see a lot more than teacher jobs available.
Wow, I had no idea, so I'm glad you brought that up. When you say there are a lot of jobs, or these are jobs that were filled before and are now, because people have left, available again, or you just decided these are the kind of people we need to hire in the system?
No, it's just regular turnover of people. I mean, psychologists are, it's very hard to find psychologists in general. But the special needs populations of all the public schools over the last decades has increased immeasurably. And so we need special needs technicians. These are people that sometimes will shadow a single child throughout the day. There's a lot of financial resources put into making sure that we accommodate every single child who needs a school, regardless of their situation. So, cafeteria workers, for instance, we need cafeteria workers. There really are a lot of options. And I remember last year I was playing wiffle ball in Côte Saint-Luc with a guy, and I asked him what he did. He said he was from another country in South America, and he told me that he had been a teacher there. And I immediately gave his CV in, and he was hired a week later at Coronation Elementary School. And he's not a teacher, but he's a special needs assistant, and he loves it. He's so happy, and they're thrilled with him. So I'm recruiting wherever I go,
That's
Aaron.
Great.
Aaron, I know you're busy, but if you have some free time, maybe you could do a radio course.
Yeah, well, let me put that in my folder here, because I would love to be able to do that. I mean, I got into radio when I learned about radio at McGill, and that's before they even had a program. So I think it's wonderful to have an opportunity to give back, and certainly something, be it me or anybody else out there. That's why I asked, Michael, if you have a skill and you have the time and can pass it on, what a better way to do it than to get involved?
Absolutely, 100%.
I would ask you one last thing. In these cases where you're saying, okay, come and let us know who you are and what you can do, these don't have to be full-time jobs, right? You don't have to show up at 8 and stay till 4 every day.
No, but I mean, a lot of substitute teachers, they could be called in, hey, you get a call at 6 in the morning. We need you at such and such a school. But a lot of substitutes could end up filling in for someone. Someone goes on leave for whatever reason, and they could be told, okay, we need you for the entire year. I know some people who are not permanent teachers yet at the board who came in as substitute, who are very qualified, and they've been teaching nonstop for the last couple of years. And and a lot of times, a lot of these people will work towards getting their teaching certification while they're subbing, and then they'll have the ability to become a full-time teacher.
Michael, is the system hamstrung in terms of people who want to still take on teaching as a profession? Has it become more difficult to do from what you understand?
Well, I mean, I go to the teachers' convention every year, and we set up a table for the EMSB, and we talk to all the young people, because a lot of students are there. We still see a lot of students who want to become teachers, a lot of young people. So I think the profession, again, it's just like, do people still want to be nurses after what they saw in the pandemic? Do they want to become doctors? And I think that people still are focused on whatever goal they had in life. And yeah, I think that, one last thing is when we did our campaign after Bien Se Gagnon last year for French, we focused a part of our attention on EMSB graduates who went on to become French teachers, who are 100% bilingual. And these were people who went to our system and told us, we were so enamored with our teacher, we wanted to become a teacher ourselves. And we have so many examples of that.
Oh, that's nice to hear. I'll let you go by just reminding parents, or maybe reassuring parents, if they have a child in an EMSB school, there is no worry about not having enough teachers or qualified teachers, right?
Absolutely not.
Okay.
And they go to our website, and they can also still register before August 30th.